Bet horse racing on DRF Bets. We'll match your first deposit up to $250. Get free expert picks and past performances, plus weekly cash back, all from Daily Racing Form, the most trusted name in horse racing. Let's take a look at our top selections for the... Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer. Race number 9 at Belmont Park on Saturday is the local prep for the Belmont Stakes. It's the Grade 3 Peter Pan for 3-year-olds contested at a 1-turn mile and an eighth. Let's take a peek at this field. Chad Brown has the 6 Risk Taking, the winner of the Grade 3 Withers and the beaten favorite in the Wood Memorial. He would obviously be very tough in this race, Mike. Chad's also throwing around the idea, though, of scratching here and running in the Preakness next week.
Yeah, we'll see if he decides to, I guess take the path of least resistance here in the Peter Pan Den. He's a good horse. He did disappoint a little bit last time. Wherever he runs, whether it be this Saturday or next Saturday, he's a bounce back candidate for sure.
Let's throw up the Timeform US Pace Projector because there are really no blazers in this year's edition of the Peter Pan. Wolfie's Dynaghost should be fresh. This will be his first start of the year, and he's stretching out. But something tells me Nova Rags is going to be aggressively ridden from post 2. I think Junior Alvarado is going to have him close, if not outright on the lead.
Yeah, that could definitely happen. He's got plenty of speed to go forward. I won't be surprised if the 4 comes out of there running first time off the layoff, first time stretching out. I'm sure that horse is going to show speed here. I didn't think either way, Dan, they could both go. I didn't think they had to go fast.
Now, a horse that could be overlooked is the number 1 Overtook, who's hoping that this pace heats up because he appears to be a 1-run closer. He also appears to be a late developing type for Todd Pletcher that might appreciate this distance. He sold for $1 million as a yearling. He's by Curlin, and he ran a good second in the Withers, his first start out of the maiden ranks. He seems to be improving with each start.
He does. He doesn't have any early speed at all. So we'll see if he can at least keep himself within range of this pace early. But he's a well-bred horse. They paid a lot of money for him. When he broke his maiden 2 starts back then, that was a race that had a really competitive pace going on in front of him. And he came with a late run to close that thing down. I thought he looked good winning that race. And he did take a step forward in the Withers last time. I mean, all he really did was follow risk taking around the track. And he was only second best that day. Maybe he can take a step forward here.
Nova Rags, the number 2, is a stakes winner sprinting at Tampa Bay Downs, second in the Sam F. Davis, a race that has not come back very strong just yet, and then an okay 4th, I guess, in the Florida Derby last time out. The question, I think, for Nova Rags is one of distance. I'm not sure how far he wants to go.
Yeah, I worry about that too. I mean, if they go slow on the early lead in here and he's forward, I guess that could lead to some kind of an improvement here. I don't know. All in all, Dan, I'm just sort of underwhelmed by this horse. His Sam Davis, I thought was fine. He got a great trip in that race. He was only second best. That's turned out to be a pretty weak Derby prep race. His Florida Derby, I don't really know what to say about it. He was part of the pace. He was no match when the real running started. I just didn't find a lot to like about him in here, and he's 5-2 on the morning line.
Couple of quick recent workouts over the Deep Payson Park Training Center track for Bill Mott. Promise Keeper is the number 3. Will the real Promise Keeper stand up? Is it the one that won at Gulfstream second time out? Is it the one that won this race at Keeneland last time out? Or is it the one that finished last at 4-1 in the Tampa Bay Derby 2 starts back? This was a nice bounce back effort, Mike. His horse didn't break very well in a short field, worked out an in-out trip, and as you can see, is off to the races while reaching for ground.
Yeah, he was really good in this race, Dan. As you mentioned, he did not break well at all in this race, but he recovered very quickly, got a good trip. He always looked like he was going to win this race, and he dusted this field through the stretch with a good finish. I personally liked his maiden win. I know it was a sloppy track at Gulfstream Park, but I liked that effort. That led me to liking him in the Tampa Bay Derby, where he was terrible while over bet. But man, did he turn it around last time? That was a really impressive win.
I think a concern could be is one race without Lasix thus far, the Tampa Bay Derby, Lasix off in the Peter Pan. Wolfie's Dynaghost didn't run like a 33-1 shot in this race. His career debut and one and only start as a 2-year-old on November the 14th. Son of Ghost Sapper went out for Tom Albertrani. Let's watch this race. Albertrani doesn't win first time out usually. Wolfie's Dynaghost, though, 84 Beyer speed figure and a very confident placement for his 3-year-old debut.
It really is. We'll see what he does in this race. He obviously ran well first time out. He was ready to go. He had plenty of speed to keep up with the pace. I want to say this race came back with a 77 originally, Dan. They've since upgraded it to an 84. That probably has a lot to do with the horse that you see running second right there down on the rail. That's Wayburn. He came back to break his maiden in his next start. Then he won the Gotham with a 95 buyer. So he beat a good horse in that race. And now he's off the layoff, stretching out in distance in the Peter Pan. He's got plenty of pedigree to go along, Dan. This is the family of Sadler's Joy and a couple of other horses who really wanted to go a distance of ground.
And not only did he beat Wayburn, he beat some other nice horses in that race. That is a live race, and I kind of believe the number upgrade. I Am the Law, the number 5. Talk about confident placement. John Terranova, very sharp trainer. He's going to run I Am the Law, two-time maiden in this graded stake, apparently. Let's watch his last race at Aqueduct on March the 28th. And where are we? London? No, this is Aqueduct through the fog. And I Am the Law is pretty game down towards the inside to finish second. He's yet to run over fast going.
Yeah, he hasn't run on a fast track. Yeah, this race had a pretty fast pace going on, Dan. He sat off it. He tried to rally up the inside. He ran fine. I thought his career debut was fine as well, where it was sort of a similar situation. He was wider in that race. He got to a stretch lead. He got closed down at the end. I'm trying to decide if he's in here because his connections really like him and want to take a shot, or if they hustled him in.
Risk taking is the number 6, and he really improved when stretched out to 1 1/8. He won his maiden around 2 turns. He won the Withers around 2 turns. What happened in the Wood Memorial? Could you find an excuse for that effort?
I mean, not really. I did sort of feel like when Irad sort of took him in hand after the start to take him off the pace, I just felt like this horse got a little bit headstrong in the early stages of that race. He sort of pulled his way up between horses like he didn't want to settle. And maybe at the end of the day, Dan, that just cost him in a race that obviously went to a deep closer at the end. He didn't run great. It was obviously a big disappointment for him in there. His prior 2 races, though, I think pointed him out to be a pretty good 3-year-old. So I'm going to suspect he's going to run a lot better, whether it be in the Peter Pan or the Preakness.
Top pick time for the Grade 3 Peter Pan Stakes, the local prep for the Belmont. We're hoping the number 3 lives up to his promise. It's promise keeper. Like you, I was impressed with his last race at Keeneland, and I liked his maiden win over the wet track.
Yeah, me too. I like both of his wins. I don't know what happened in the Tampa Bay Derby. He obviously didn't run well from a tough outside post, but he bounced back really nicely last time. I was taken with that performance, Dan.
3, 6, 4, and 1 for Mike. 3, 2, 4, and 6 for me. And the Grade 3 Peter Pan, one of 5 graded stakes races at Belmont on Saturday. Good luck.